Hello and welcome. You're joining us live here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. I'll be getting you over the next few minutes a roundup in a nutshell of all the top stories that we're tracking this morning. If you haven't heard, the top story is what's happening right now in Afghanistan and the terror attacks that happened on Thursday evening in the city of Kabul. So I'm just going to get you all the latest updates on the terror strikes. Unfortunately now, the news that came in this morning, and I've been tracking the story for the last many hours, the official authorities on the ground have confirmed that the death toll currently stands at over 100. 103 deaths have been reported in the Kabul terror strike. 90 of them are Afghan civilians, Afghan nationals. 13 of them are US soldiers. Remember that all of these were people outside the Kabul airport. Two of these blasts, explosions, were reported outside the Kabul airport, after which terrorists also opened fire at all of the people who'd gathered there. We've been reporting here on India Today for the last many days since the Taliban takeover, really, about how hundreds of thousands of people have been gathering at the Kabul airport. It's the only airport where evacuations have been happening, and that's why terrorists decided to target this particular airport. Very unfortunate what's really happened. And we're also here on India Today getting you seeds from some of these hospitals. Women, children, all of them desperate to get out of Afghanistan, are now in hospital, many of them gravely injured. So unfortunately, it looks like the death toll will only go up. As far as the terror attack itself is concerned, the ISIS has come out to claim responsibility for the attack. It's been confirmed by the United States and ironically by the Taliban that they were behind the attack. Taliban has come out to condemn what's happened at the Kabul airport. They've completely washed their hands off. They've said, we weren't responsible for security at the airport, so they blamed America for the security aspect. And they've said that ISIS has, in fact, and they've condemned what ISIS has done, saying that we will stop this kind of evil circles in Afghanistan. So the Taliban, which many refer to as a terror organization, is in a position where it's condemning a terror attack. ISIS has taken responsibility for what's really happened. As I mentioned, 2x strike is the result of America's botched up Afghanistan policy. US President Joe Biden did in fact hold an address because, so many American soldiers, we're being told 13 of them, 11 of them were Marines, one of them a Navy medic. They've all died in this particular terror strike. Joe Biden has vowed that, he and America will crack down on the ISIS terrorists. So he's already reportedly asked for details on how they can strike ISIS hideouts. But what this triggers is another debate about the United States now kicking off another violent front to deal with what's happened in Afghanistan. Biden has said that he will not take a soft approach on this, but experts have also pointed the finger at America for what's playing out right now in Afghanistan. Many said that this was bound to happen. Considering what's been happening in the last few weeks, terrorists were bound to come out in the open, knowing full well that they can have a free run in Afghanistan. And that's exactly what's happened. Another worrying aspect, another fallout of this terror strike is what happens now to the evacuation operations. August 31st is the deadline for all evacuations to end. Taliban has made it very clear they're not going to extend that. So what then will happen in Afghanistan? As far as India is concerned, our government did release a statement yesterday where they condemned this dastardly terror strike, but there's no clarity on what really happens to the rescue efforts. There's only one airport from which you can actually see movement, from which evacuation operations have been happening, and that's the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. What happens now is still a big question mark. But what we've been told here on India Today is that there are still about 20 Indian nationals stuck there and about 150 Afghan Sikhs and Hindus waiting to get out. And these are numbers of people who've so far only reached out to the government. There is a likelihood that there are still a lot more people who are yet to reach out to the Indian government. So that's a concern, a cause of concern. It remains to be seen when really airlift operations, evacuation operations will be able to begin again in the Kabul airport. We'll be continuing to get you all the latest updates on that story. Another story that I want to tell you about this morning, focusing on India, is about the latest on the COVID crisis. And the reason I'm getting you these numbers is because the case count in the state of Kerala is very, very worrying. 30,000 plus for the second straight day, and that means your overall India tally has also gone up to 40,000 plus. About 14,000 cases are being reported from other parts of the country, over 30,000 cases from one state, from Kerala. And I know a lot of you have been asking what's really going wrong. You know, Kerala model that was so talked about how they fought COVID, all of that is being questioned now because of the infection rate. The test positivity rate has shot up. Right now, looking at the data that's coming in from Kerala and also the national caseload, about 65% plus is being reported of the cases really is being reported from Kerala. The centre has also taken note. They've told the Kerala government, look, you need to focus on more testing, more contact tracing. But clearly something isn't going right in Kerala. They need to rework their entire strategy. And remember that this is also an impact of festivities in the state. Onam was last week, the biggest festival in Kerala. So because of some of those restrictions being eased, you're seeing cases going up. But the Kerala government definitely needs to do something on a war footing, because they're under a lot of fire from experts, from the opposition, that clearly they're not doing enough right now to tackle the infection spread in Kerala. Another story that we're tracking this Friday morning here on India Today is the Congress facing many fires, putting out endless fires in different states. In Punjab, we've been telling you about the Navjot Singh Sidhu versus Captain Amrinder Singh face-off. In the latest round of this tussle for power, the Congress High Command has clearly chosen a side, and this time they've not chosen to placate Navjot Singh Sidhu. They've chosen Captain Amrinder Singh, and they've told Sidhu very clearly that Captain Amrinder Singh is the face for the Punjab Congress in the 2022 elections. They've also told him to get rid of two of his advisors, who very publicly made very critical statements of Captain Amrinder Singh. And then you have the other fire that they're having to put out in Chhattisgarh. To essentially sum up for you what's been happening in Chhattisgarh, you have the Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel, you have the Health Minister T.S. Singhdeo. Now T.S. Singhdeo is saying that there should be a rotational CM, that Congress has completed half of its term exactly in Chhattisgarh, and so now Dio must be made the Chief Minister. He's not willing to bargain, he's not willing to budge, which is why the Congress is facing a problem. We're hearing today Bhupesh Baghel is in Delhi, and he's going to, in all likelihood, be meeting with the High Command. He's going to be meeting with Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi. So let's see what solution the Congress High Command really comes up with in Chhattisgarh as well. So that's something we'll be tracking very closely here on India Today. Rest assured, the latest ground reports, the latest updates from Kabul post that terror strike, will be continuing to get you all of that and much more here on India Today.